Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 7th of June. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, I suppose you're counting down the days with the week in front of us.
What for?
Oh, come on.
What for?
Are you serious?
Yeah, what for? No, it's all right, What for?
Mate, this is the week. This is the countdown week.
What for?
You're not having a go here, are you?
What for? What countdown for what?
The countdown. The
final countdown?
The countdown. It's my birthday week.
It is, you're right. How ridiculous.
Yeah, we're counting down to my birthday. Viewers, 13th of June. There are some shopping days still available for you to get out there, and I have a list at David Jones. So I've made your gift selection that much easier.
Isn't that wonderful? It is your birthday. How old are you going to be this year?
I'm going to be 41, maybe 2.
Yep. Well, you know what? If we believe that you're here without makeup, we can probably believe that you're going to be 41 or 42
Gary,
as well.
it's not makeup for the final time. It's a cover-up. Now, if you want to
so you've actually admitted that there's something going on.
Oh.
So you've got so what's a cover-up? What's the difference between a cover-up and makeup?
So makeup is when you have your whole face done, right?
No, because you can just have a bit of eyeliner, a bit of lippy.
But
that's all
no
makeup,
one ever. Well, it's true, but putting a dab of something on a spot is hardly called makeup. And I've got to tell you,
we'll let the viewers decide.
I've got to tell you, Gary, that you would be far better off with makeup instead of us having to position the entire cameras to get the angle where your festering buboes on your face don't show.
There's a little bit of a sunspot, Phil. That's very unfair. I was a little bit more out in the sun than you were because you were probably locked away for most of your childhood, as rightly so. So you should have been. Phil, let's talk about the market. What's going on?
In the dungeon. Good story there, but we won't go in there. Although you'd like to have a chat about that off camera, viewers, just give me a call.
Look, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Phil, the Pointer Sisters are coming to Melbourne, by the way.
Are they? Have you booked?
That was their song. No, I haven't booked the Pointer Sisters. They are coming. They did sing that song. But, Philip, let's not muck around because the clearance rate at Gary Peer and Associates.
High five.
13 out of 13. Put up the towers. Let's have some celebration, champagne.
Some sparkles on the top again,
everything.
please, Mr. Editor or Mrs. Editor or Ms. Editor.
I said, you know what? If we get 13 out of 13, BRW 200 richest, Phil.
What do you reckon that will put us into the BRW top 200?
No. It just means that I've got enough money to go and buy one. That's all.
Boom, boom! We've been rehearsing that little joke for most of the morning.
Oh, yeah. It's been a good
but
one.
what a great weekend, Gary. 13 out of 13. 100%. Doesn't get any better than that.
Over 9 suburbs, Phil. We were all over Melbourne. We were running.
Some incredible results we had, and we've got video footage of a lot of them, Gary.
We've got a little special show, haven't we, about what went on in terms of the auctions. But first, I think we should launch into what happened on Thursday because, Phil, you were there on Carlisle Street. I was stopping people getting hit by the trams because they were all flowing out in the street. We sold those few shops.
Well, viewers,
undisclosed price before you blab.
You might not understand this, but we have a expertise in selling retail property.
We do.
We have been selling retail shops really all over Melbourne for most of our career. We wouldn't say we're the biggest, but certainly
we'd say we're the best.
We know how to do it, and often we work in conjunction with organisations like CBRE, and in particular this time with Gross Waddell, who are long-standing good mates of ours.
They are.
And a conjunctional sale there with 2 shops, and an excellent result was had by all.
Well, it's undisclosed, Philip, but we were expecting to get interest in the 2s, and suffice to say that's the 2, not 200s, but 2 million plus, and 2.5 million plus, and suffice to say we did a lot better than that. So it was very exciting, Phil.
Are we not allowed to say that the final figure started with 3?
We're not allowed to say that, so we won't.
Okay.
Philip, let's move on to Glenferrie Road in Hawthorn.
Well,
here we are.
I'm not sure that I want to review all of them, Gary, although there's some video footage as we speak, I suppose.
Auctions coming this weekend,
all right,
we might as well.
Let's have a look
Why
at
not?
it.
So shall we go to footage?
Yep.
Okay.
Going, sold, ladies and gentlemen. Please congratulate the new owners and thank you for attending another Gary Peer and Associates auction. Gary, really exciting to have been in Glenferrie Road, Hawthorn, but across the weekend, not only we were in Glenferrie Road, Hawthorn, we were in Hope Street in Glen Iris.
We're in Darling.
We're in Darling Street, Darling Road in Malvern East.
Darling, we were.
So I've got to tell you, viewers, our agency now is selling all over Melbourne, and certainly some viewers will say, oh, do they have the expertise?
North of Dandenong Road, that big dividing range.
Correct.
Going to build a wall.
That's
what Donald Trump says.
The result in Glenferrie Road, Hawthorn really just shows that we can take the Gary Peer and Associates team, our expertise and skills anywhere and get record results.
going to build a wall. I'm going to talk about that in the next episode. I've got something on that. But Philip, there is a write-up on that auction. I wanted to show it on the screen because Mal James from that independent James Advocacy Service have you read it yet?
No, I haven't
seen it. Well,
haven't.
There you go.
We got a bit of we get a favourable write-up.
We got a very favourable write-up and a very I think a very interesting write-up saying that we're not the auctioneers that they know that they're familiar with, but we did a very good job. And they said that if you didn't have a career in auction, you could go into comedy, Philip. Very poor comedy, but comedy nevertheless.
Just on that, viewers, there's no question that if you go to an auction deep into the heart of Hawthorne, Camberwell, Surrey Hills, the auctioneers are very different. They're very much older school, and they're very much private school. And that's not said with any disrespect to those auctioneers.
Because you were a private school boy,
a number of them are our mates, but they are very, very old grammarian type auctioneers, which is something that we're absolutely not.
Now, GPTV is stretching across all sorts of boundaries because it's funny, one of the underbidders, or the immediate underbidder for that property in Hawthorne, the son is mates with my son. And my son's come back and said, did they buy it? I said, no, unfortunately they missed it. But he said, well, Oscar, who's the son, who's his mate, he actually watches GPTV, so it's stretching across the generation.
And we had some celebrities there, Gary. We had Carson Scott, the economics editor for Sky Television, shot up on screen there.
Lovely fellow.
And the funniest part about it was that I referred to him during the auction, and one of the bidders happened to be standing right next to him, and she looks up at him with this almost this fond gaze and says, I thought it was you. I watch your show all the time.
I'm the biggest fan. It was like it was a sit-up.
I know.
And Carson's going, no worries. Quite liked that, didn't he? But he was a lovely guy, and good to have him there. And he was really enjoying the auction as well, Phil, which is good. So,
you know what? And keep in mind, Gary, that Sky News is owned by Rupert Murdoch, and we are in continuing negotiations with Rupert to take this show right round the world, a syndicated show. Our people are working with Rupert Murdoch's people now, and you never know, a deal may be forthcoming, Gary, where this is one of the. It's a highly syndicated show,
there's a lot of negotiations.
and we'll earn hundreds of millions of dollars out of it. But we'll never give away GPTV because the viewer heartland, you're our people.
We're not selling out no matter how much Rupert offers us, but you can start by coming forward with something anyway, because we've got all those negotiations in our mind.
Correct.
Philip, Moonya Road, Carnegie. Well, this one was an interesting story. You weren't in the sales meeting yesterday,
but
an interesting story because it got passed in at the auction. And Aviv Samuel, who's a very resourceful young man, has gone back to the office straight after the auction. He's made a series of calls and he's actually ended up selling it for $765,000, Philip. It was interesting because it just didn't happen at the auction. But most agents, they'll just go home and they'll go, we'll open for inspection next week.
They'll jump into their shiny BMW and drive back to their rented home.
But not Aviv Samuel. Oh no, he went back to the office after work, rang everybody from the file, SMS everyone on the file.
He is a superstar.
And produced a number of buyers, got full price for the vendor. Well done to them.
What else have you got, Gary? What else are you pulling out of the hat there?
Darling.
I love it when you call me darling.
I was at Darling Road. It was a little bit rainy, but we did have 3 or 4 bidders. Interesting story, Philip, because the final bidder came inside, was submitted the property, refused to pay much more than the final bid, and then the underbidder, who actually, interestingly, sourced it through the PRW.
Yes, I know. And I spoke to these purchasers, Gary, to wish them congratulations on their purchase.
Here we are in Malvern East with a basically Caulfield-based buyer who's gone across and bought it, and they've come in after the buyer has walked out, who's been passed into, and ended up purchasing it. So interesting story. And just goes to show that if you are the final bidder, you do get the exclusive right, but if you refuse to pay the reserve, it is open.
I'm just going to let's speak about that for 30 seconds.
We've got 30 seconds.
Viewers, when we pass a property in, we always say that the highest bidder will have the first right to purchase the property at the reserve price. Not to negotiate, but the first right to purchase. So for example, let's just say the reserve is $1 million and we pass it in at $937,000, just to be specific.
Very specific.
We say to the purchaser, the reserve is $1 million. You have the first right to pay that. And this is what I always say. I say to them, my recommendation would be to pay the reserve. If you offer us less than the reserve, which is entirely your right to do so, please understand that that gives us then the right to communicate with other purchasers. So we're very clear. So if a property does get passed into you viewers, we would always recommend you pay the reserve if you think the reserve is realistic.
Absolutely, indeed. And if you don't, then you are open for someone
as
else to jump in.
As what happened in Darling.
Yeah, and in fact, I was talking to the lady who was the final bidder, a delightful lady in Darling, and I said, look, if you walk out, this person could just come in and buy it. You need to be aware of that, and she was.
And often the purchasers think we're bluffing, but the reality is purchasers, underbidders change their mind all the time and come back into it.
And I never heard a purchaser not believing the estate agent. Are you saying that could actually
Gary,
happen?
I know, go figure, but
outrageous.
apparently some real estate agents don't have high levels of credibility.
There you go.
Not the boys and the girls from GPA.
Well, we had good credibility there at Darling Street because we did sell it for $1,650,000, Philip.
Yep.
A great result.
Price is clearly not undisclosed.
Clearly not, or we've blown it.
Let's move this along, Gary, because you are really dragging the show out today.
Lansdowne Road, tell us about it. You were there.
I was there, Gary. We held the auction inside. We had a crowd of only about 15 people, but 2 of them were bidding for it right from the start.
Yes.
And we put that under the hammer. We put it on the market, and we did sell it. Is the price undisclosed?
It's not, Philip. Go for it.
$810,000. We thought we'd get something in the high 7s, so 810 was an excellent result. Lansdowne Road, St Kilda, what a great position though, round the corner from the office, walking distance to Dandenong Road tram, and a 2-storey beautiful town residence.
We go from Darling to hope, Philip, and some say, and especially when we were kids, that we had no hope, but we did have some hope there because we sold.
Do you know what, those were the no and hope were the 2 words I heard from most of my teachers right through our mind.
They ran very closely together, didn't they?
They were linked. They linked, Philip, you have no hope.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just goes to show you can all get stuffed. All those teachers,
Yeah.
all of you that thought I would end up in jail
Yep.
or unemployed,
He got out.
I got out and
got a
I've
job.
done good. So
Done real good.
stuffed.
Done good in Hope Street.
I actually only ever had 1 good teacher at school.
Right? Really? Yep.
Special shout out, should you be watching this show, Phil DeYoung.
Yep.
Who was my economics teacher in year 12. I can look back on my entire school life and say I only had 1 good teacher, Phil DeYoung. And if my father's watching this, my father, literally from the day I left school, he said, you must ring Phil DeYoung and say hello.
You should.
So Phil, if you're watching the show, g'day, Phil.
Yeah, everyone has that one teacher, don't they, Phil? There might be some good stories to write in, but I had Graham Hurst, and he stopped me getting expelled for sure. Because he just happened to like me, so if it wasn't for him, I would have been out on my backside.
Do you know, I reckon that every kid probably has 1 teacher. I think you're right, every kid probably has one teacher.
No, I think lots of kids have lots of teachers. We just had 1. 7 Hope Street was sold, undisclosed, Philip, good result. Happy vendor, saw him on Sunday, so well done and good job there.
Did you just say saw him? On Sunday, saw him.
Oh, sorry.
You saw him.
Sorry.
You saw him.
I seen him on Sunday.
New word, saw him. S-A-W-E-M. Saw him.
Nah, I seen him. Seen him on Sunday. Yeah.
S-A-Y. Saw. S-O-R-E-E-M.
Saw him. I seen him. And you wonder why we got thrown out of school. Philip, let's talk about Sunday. All happened in Orong Road. Well, there was the apartment there that I went to, and as I was entering the apartment, someone said to me, "Don't even bother. It's bedlam." And it was like you were giving money away.
So I think we've got some video footage of that one.
That was
Gary.
the most nuts crowd I've ever seen in my life. Lemoore had people excited in a frenzy. The price is undisclosed, but
it's 11:30 on Sunday, and
auction.
it's cold and wet.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, in this apartment would have been 120 people. It was
nuts.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, sold for, I don't know, 20-30% over reserve.
Let's just put
crazy.
a quick little bit of video footage up there just so people can see the tight packed crowd there. And final call, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to congratulate the new buyers of this penthouse apartment.
Philip, we moved on from that Orong Road to another Orong Road. That was number 326, again a competitive auction. Now that other Orong Road, how many? There was 7 bidders or something. This one there was 3 or 4 strong bidders and buyers. 4 strong buyers. And sold to some delightful people.
And shout out to the people that bought it. We obviously not going to use their name, Gary, but he did mention to you that he was a regular watcher of the show. So a special shout out to you, kind sir, who bought a beautiful apartment, and thank you for watching the show.
They are a delightful couple, just celebrated a very big event in their life in terms of birthday. And
what was the birthday?
Well, it was a big milestone birthday. I'm not going to say the year, but the wife, who was delightful, had a big milestone birthday. But they were, it was a very emotional, purchase, Phil, because they've been in their last home for many, many years. So they do watch, and they said it was like old. This was like old variety, probably old boring. outdated variety show, but nevertheless he did say he watched it, which is good. Across the generations, GPTV. Philip, we moved on to Lyndoch Avenue. Now that was a knockout.
Gary, that is
nuts.
what the industry calls a rip snorter.
It is. It's professional. We were taught that in real estate.
It's a professional
school,
term. You're only allowed to use the term rip snorter when an auction really does go ballistic.
Yep.
And I think there's a rule at the REIV that only properties that sell for $500,000 more than the reserve can be deemed as rip snorters.
It's categorised clearly in that, that $500,000 plus is rip snorter category, Philip. Otherwise, it would be embellishing. But that was a very.
And I suppose it's a real estate term because the use of cocaine is prolific in the real estate industry. So when you use the term rip snorter, you're saying we can't use that little piece on. I think we continue to go with that.
That's in bad taste.
Okay, so that was just a little attempt at humour, which clearly my partner here
because I'm anti-drugs,
is worrying about that.
It's just stupid. Anyway,
can I just say
for
the record that this show does not endorse drug use. It only endorses moderate alcohol consumption.
Like an occasional little bit of sherry.
Moderate.
It's in the morning, during lunchtime, and the afternoon, and evening.
Before each auction.
Right, and after. Phil, let's move on to 159 Campbell Road, because that was a milestone property. We shot GPTV from there, and how about
congratulations to Larry, Steve and Con, who are the builders of that property, and they've been great clients and great supporters of ours over the years.
Yes.
They put their heart and soul into this house. I think it's probably one of the most beautifully articulated, built, constructed, finished. Everything about this home
not undisclosed,
everything. I don't know. Everything about this home was just magnificent. And check out some video footage just for the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to congratulate the new owner who is about to buy one of the best houses I've ever seen. So price is undisclosed, viewers, but sold well in excess of our price estimates and expectations.
And we were talking what, $2.5 million plus, and there's no surprise.
Well in excess of that. But check out the crowd, Gary. I mean, I've never seen such a crowd, and mind you, the proportions of that back room were so incredible that it really did absorb the crowd. But I love those guys. They really do produce beautiful properties.
And Phil, that's 100%. You're right there, 13 out of 13. A couple of others that sold before auction we haven't reviewed, but 13 out of 13. 100% is just like me with maths in Form 5.
Yep. 100% failure rate. 100% non-attendance.
Non-attendance. How did you know exactly that? That's unbelievable. It was a non-attendance register. 100%. That is incredible because I was lining up for that, and you got there without. We had no discussion.
I've always clearly been meters in front of you, Gary.
That's spooky, Phil.
Spooky, well, I understand you, Gary. You know, I have a window into your soul.
You've got a similar intellect, haven't you? Phil, we move on to the property that we're in right now because we are in the heart of Caulfield North, the Golden Mile.
Can I just say, Gary, and I've said it many times before.
You can say whatever you like as long as it's not about drugs and alcohol. Because it's bad. Go on.
How lucky are we?
We're very lucky.
How lucky are we? We're blessed to have this wonderful relationship where we do get to bag each other once a week, and people actually like us bagging each other.
We bag ourselves more than once a week, just on camera once a week.
But we're lucky because we've got a wonderful friendship, a wonderful partnership, but we have this wonderful business full of wonderful people, and I think we're just
working in it and working with us.
We've just clicked over. I think we've just employed our 101st person.
Something like that.
So we've got now 100 plus people working with us. We've got a policy where we only employ people that we like and know and trust.
Big payroll bill,
but
not parole.
But we get to sell houses like this, Gary.
Yes, we do.
And this one, shout out to the builders on this property. We've talked many times about how these 2-story town residences are the future.
Well, we've had a big run of them.
Well, we have.
Kooyong Road and Kears Court and
Edith Street,
and Carlisle Street.
and the list goes on and on. But this is just a beauty because it's one of the best streets of Caulfield, Ben Kent Grove. And I think the attention to detail here is nothing short of stunning. Well, Gary, we've got 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a study, off-street car parking, single garage but with a car space in front of it. The floors are just beautiful, these timber floors. Ceiling heights are wonderful. It's light, it's bright, and you know, I think it just ticks every box, this one.
It's an exceptional property, Philip, and it is in a great location, of course. Got Lenny's at the end of the street and everything you could possibly want just around
at the other end of the street, Gary. Walk to Carlisle Street from here.
Absolutely, Phil. Now, just a quick shout out because we've had the most beautiful correspondence. I was actually very touched by it, and I don't know how much we want to talk about.
We'll be selective.
We won't say too much. But Renata, who is over there in Vancouver with her son Samuel, has written the most beautiful note to us. And Renata, of course, as an Aussie, you know, he's gets a bit homesick, and this connects her back. Or so she said to us, connects her back into the zone, into the area, into the bizarre and stupid Aussie humour that perhaps we possess. But Renata, thank you so much. We wish you and Samuel a wonderful time in Vancouver. We're missing you, and we were looking forward to having you back.
Can we also say we were touched by your letter? It was lovely to read it, and lovely to have a shout out to you. And certainly we look forward to having you home.
And good to hear that people are watching us internationally, Phil.
Well, that's why Rupert Murdoch wants us, Gary, because he's realised that we've got a viewer in Canada, and he wants to own Canada. And Rupert Murdoch's theory is you get one viewer at a time.
We're building a wall, aren't we? We're building a wall. We're going to talk about that in the next episode, Phil, because I'm immersed in what's happening in the politics in America. Forget about what's going on here. Now, I like all the mudslinging, all of the attacks, all of the abuse, all of this.
Do you know what?
I can't help it.
I didn't tell you this,
does
but
it make you a bad person?
No, it doesn't. But we had Donald Trump's people
Yeah.
get in contact with our people last week, saying that he wanted to come onto the show.
I know he does. He can't help himself.
Because he realised that there's a lot of rednecks that watch this show, and he wants to make sure that he builds.
It's not just the rednecks that are supporting Donald Trump, Phil. No mistake about that. Go on.
Well, Gary, the question is he appealing to the middle America now? Is that what you're suggesting?
We're building a wall. We're going to talk about it more next week because I've got some good material on it. But that is a big wrap on GPTV for this week, Philip. It is June. It is cold.
Aren't we reviewing this weekend's auctions, Gary?
Well, we could, but we just don't have any, Philip. But
and why don't we have any this weekend?
Because it's the long weekend, Philip, and we don't auction on the long weekend, Phil. That's why.
So, special shout out. Obviously, we're in my birthday week. But guess who else's birthday week it happens to coincide with mine, Gary?
Whose is that, Phil?
The Queen.
Oh,
it's the Queen's birthday.
What day? Oh, what is the Queen?
And let's get up a bit of footage of the Queen and her corgis now walking through somewhere. We'll get some footage. I want the Queen and her corgis on this show, Gary.
It's the Queen's birthday.
So special shout out to the Queen, and obviously with our St Kilda office, Gary, we've got a lot of other Queens that watch this show.
We do,
but special shout out to the Queen, the Queens that watch this show. We have a lot of fun making it.
We sure do.
And Gary, as I said, just want to remind you again, if you haven't bought me a birthday present, the list at David Jones.
I'm saving. Those 13 auction clearances help a bit, Phil. But we still need more properties to sell, don't we? So we can get a better present for you. We look forward to keeping you in touch with all real estate nonsense that's going on in the area. My name's Gary Pierre.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fabulous week.